Good morning, crew, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Rip. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Things are moving this morning. We got CPI data that just came out right here at the 5:30 Pacific Standard Time mark there, and things are ripping, looking really good on the charts right now. So a little bit of hype for this morning. I'm excited for the open. Should be a fun day. I know we've had a few nasty days in the market, but I'm feeling pretty bowled up on this day. We'll see if everything goes to plan, but I'm feeling good about this day. I think bulls are still hanging around, and we should see some good price action today. But Shy, how you feeling?
Do you hear that, Jordan? I think I hear Santa coming along, like coming around the corner. I think the CPI print is exactly what the market needed for the Santa rally essentially get launched the next couple weeks. Like I know we made some commentary this week on the on this talk show that maybe Santa rally has just been building up throughout the year and it's not gonna be as explosive as prior years have been. Fine, that might be the case. I again look under the hood. I think you're going to see a lot of small mid cap growth names really catch a bit towards the end of the year. And CPI was really, if there was a really hot number, that might have deflated this kind of rally we've been on because it's been very toppy. The market feels exhausted a bit, where it's giving away a lot of intraday moves. And the CPI was enough, in my opinion, for us to at least have a flooring towards the end of the year. And I think it's exactly what we wanted. It met expectations. That's all you want on a trend-setting period of the year, and this is a trend-setting period of the year. So I'd love to see it. I think I made commentary to Jordan before the call. I think Tesla hits their all-time high today. It's at 410 right now pre-market. 414 is their all-time high. So I think they're going to catch a bid. They're 1% away from hitting
Well,
that
we know
all-time
how
high.
Tesla moves. If it gets movement today, that I mean we're getting there for sure. In my opinion, I mean
Hmm.
that is nothing for Tesla. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see if we get it. Obviously, either way, just being at these prices for me, I'm beyond happy being here. Right, whether or not we actually hit the all time highs, even though I definitely think we do. Even if we don't today, like I'm not worried about it. I think just being up here is perfect. And just taking a look at Bitcoin too, back at that 98,800. So just kind of chopping back and forth on crypto. It seems like the sentiment kind of shifted from everybody super excited about crypto to people are actually dipping back into the market a little bit this week. So nice to see that because for the day trades especially, it makes things much easier. Even though I I guess we could argue VIX hasn't really done too much to the upside, right? It hasn't brought a whole lot of volatility back, but I guess the little moves back up that we've gotten have definitely helped on this dip in the market to get some better moves. So I like to see that. But yeah, let's go on over to the daily rip. Get a little recap in.
I just saw Tesla's up 190% in 7 months. That's
From being
wild.
down like 42% on the year, I'll remind you, it's just beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Here's the heat map from yesterday. Still seeing obviously a decent amount of red in tech. Looks like Google though. Google obviously had some news, and that's doing really good off of that. Meta slightly green a little bit there. Tesla obviously kind of leading the pack there. So still some green in within the heat map, but you really got to pick your spots, and or else all the tech pretty much red. AMD just been nasty, continuous selling there. It's looking really rough there, but I still just I can't imagine that there's no buyers that try and step in off these monthly highs that we made in like May and June. But sometimes the market just does what it wants. So I'm still keeping an eye on that, but it's been that continuous selling and really rough in that area. So still keeping eyes. But any thoughts, Shy?
I mean, when you have the CEO as the Times Business Person of the Year, you should be green for the year, in my opinion. I don't know. AMD is just again, we went over this. Like, I think it's undervalued, but it's in a prove it phase, and they have to prove in their earnings, and they just haven't yet. And by the time that they do, there might be a chance that stage one of AI is behind all the investors, and now like that the time they finally set the table, it's at nobody really wants to be at that table anymore. So that's the tricky thing about AMD, and you're seeing that in the price action. Like they've gone nowhere in 2 years when you've seen all the stage one AI winners just go bananas. AMD hasn't done that. So maybe it's a catch up trade, maybe. But either way, there's better areas, in my opinion, in the market to get use your capital entering 2025.
100%. So here's Google. Show me the quantum computing gains. Oh gosh. While many of the market's biggest winners have struggled in recent days, obviously Google getting the buy side and getting some bullish action there. Yesterday, the company unveiled the new chip that it says it's a breakthrough in quantum computing and emerging technology expected to shake up the sector. What are your takes on this, Shy? Because obviously that was big news for Google and definitely sent it a lot higher, opposite of the market. So curious how you're thinking there.
Yeah, so that was a massive breakthrough what Google announced yesterday for their Willow chip. But I do want to make some commentary that it's definitely a quantum advancement, but it's more on an academic basis where it's years and years away from enterprise utility. So it's really it's a massive breakthrough, absolutely, but it's not really going to be applicable for the next couple of years. And I think a lot like Google catching a major bid right now, I do think it deserves somewhat of a bid, but I don't think it's going to be any kind of monetization next couple of years. Like their findings was purely academically based of like, wow, that's awesome. Down the line, they're going to be one of the clear winners, but like it's not going to happen in the next like 1 or 2 years. And the market's a forward-looking mechanism, like, but nobody knows how forward-looking. I don't think it's 5+ years out. I think it's like 18 to 24 months. So I think this is more of a thematic boost on the quantum computing space. And IonQ, as many of you guys are aware, is my favorite pure play quantum computing name in the markets. This is not going to cannibalize their business. Like right now, IonQ has that commercial success. They have that enterprise utility that's being played right now via Amazon's AWS partnership with Microsoft Azure. Like they're making actual revenue right now. Profitability is going to come in 2027. They're growing their top line triple digits. Like that is the immediate impact on this quantum computing thematic. So what Google did announce this week was great for the whole theme. It's not going to come in monetization anytime soon.
Yeah, good stuff. Moving on, GME. Oh boy. I mean, earnings was just an IV crush on the chart for the most part. I didn't dive too deep into the earnings myself, but despite widespread speculation following its December 5th tweet with Roaring Kitty, did not make an appearance on GameStop's earnings, allowing the stock to drift slightly lower ahead of its results. Again, I mean, it's GME, man. It's hot garbage. You really got to be careful with this stuff. I didn't expect too much on a move for earnings. I think usually, I mean, I would expect maybe a move afterwards here. You know what I mean? But for me, it's just there's just no opportunity there unless you're taking really short-term trades and just playing that volatility there. But as for the actual business, its share offering during the quarter helped bring its cash and cash equivalents balance up to $4.6 billion. Although the company has mastered the art of selling its stock, it still hasn't figured out how to sell its core product, which is video game related hardware. That was funny. So yeah, it's just not doing good. Their revenues fell 20% year over year to 860 million, missing expectations of 888 million. Not looking too hot. Shy. GME baby. What's your thoughts?
I think them not having a conference call this earnings cycle tells you everything you need to know about GME. Like it's not a real company right now. They have they just are a vehicle to capture meme stock narrative. Like if risk on environment isn't like really increasing, it's amplifying. Like GameStop's going to catch a bid, and the management is utilizing that to fund their initiatives or like to kick the can down the road towards bankruptcy essentially. So they really need to make a strategic pivot in the next couple years, or it's going just to die off. And maybe that strategic pivot is going to be the financial engineering Hail Mary, which I think will be adopted much more aggressively next couple years, is converting your balance sheet into Bitcoin. And like, all right, well, we can't figure out how to change this business model. We don't have the capital required. Our balance sheet is so upside down that we don't have the luxury of fulfilling all our initiatives that we want to do. Let's just put let's just pray to the crypto gods that Bitcoin's going to rally and they can get out of this mess. Maybe that's the way for GameStop. But like either way, like them reporting their numbers doesn't do anything if there's no narrative behind it via conference call. And
Yeah, it just
I'm
brings that
shocked. I'm shocked. It's
volatility.
yeah. I'm shocked it's green today. To be honest, like I did not think it would be after that. That was a really bad report.
Not too hot for GameStop. Just some noteworthy pops and drops from after hours in this morning. Chimerix up 227%. That's crazy. The microcap biopharmaceutical company announced plans to submit a new drug application to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So that thing is just ripping. You don't see that too often. Tickers up like that, especially just kind of just overnight. Unicore up 108%. The gene therapy company reached its highest level since mid-June 2023 after announcing it had reached an agreement with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on key aspects of accelerated approval pathway for its AMT 130 treatment and potential therapy for Huntington's disease. So it seems like these drug companies getting that FDA or looking to submit to the FDA. I mean, they're just getting nice pops off of that. Do you have any thoughts with those tickers specifically, Shy? So up a lot.
I mean, I do think small cap biotech is where you want to be in 2025. Like, I think a lot of those names have been basing for years, trading near their cash value, near pipeline, etc. Just due to the macro environment's been brutal for unprofitable small caps for years. Those days are over. Fed's on our side. Trump is on our side. This is going to be a risk-on environment, and you're going to see the appetite go in different stages from large tech to mid-cap growth, small cap tech to small cap biotech. So like you're going to see like those layering, that's where like the further lower you go, the more alpha you have into those thematics. Small cap biotech, there's a ton of alpha you can have over there where you can see names like 5 to 10x. And by the time they do that, it might be fairly valued because a lot of them are trading under their cash value. So I'm not surprised to see, I don't know, like finally these biotech names reacting positively to catalyst news. That wasn't the case all year. Now it's a completely different environment. So,
Well, and that's where, we might see the market kind of drift sideways or maybe down a little bit into the beginning of this year, but there might still be opportunity with names like this, right? Like you say, risk on environment. So, yeah,
absolutely,
worth
and
noting for sure.
I'm also GM was a big news. I don't know if you saw that, Jordan, but they officially
not.
waved their white flag on their robotaxi business on Cruise. So that is again, I think we all the Tesla experts out there knew this was inevitable. Their Cruise department was a joke, is a joke. When Uber announced their partnership with Cruise, I forgot when it was. I was like, all right, well, that's obviously they're just partnering up with the shittiest player in that autonomy race. That's like not going to really be that much of a catalyst for them. So they waved the white flag. I think again, this now is a duopoly. Waymo, Tesla. Waymo does not have the scalability that Tesla has at all. It is just night and day difference. It's insane that people are comparing them because yes, Waymo has like actual rides that are happening right now
No,
at
you
this
can't
stage.
compare those, bro. No.
No, it's not
No.
even close. It's
No.
it's their business model. It costs so much money for those vehicles, like, and they're so hyper niche on where they can actually ride these Waymo cars. Like, it's short term gain, but the long term journey is going to be not as explosive as Tesla. So, like, I think this is a big read through on there is going to be a duopoly, but it's really Tesla's market, and you're seeing why now Tesla is probably going to hit an all time high today because you're seeing a lot of these analyst notes start factoring in FSD and autonomy. That wasn't the case this time last year. This time last year is all about gross margins, car deliveries. Like it was all an EV business. Now the narrative on the street is purely AI, and that is a game changer. Where I forgot who wrote this note a week ago, but they claim that if they can actually solve FSD, which I think they can, it would add $300 to the stock price. That's essentially $1 trillion valuation increase onto whatever Tesla's valuation is right now if they solve FSD. That's wild. So that's essentially giving them a price tag. FSD is worth $1 trillion for Tesla by itself. So now at 1.2, $1.3 trillion right now, I think is their market cap. You're essentially getting their EV side of the business, their energy side of the business, their robotics side of the business for 300, $200 billion. That's a freaking bargain. That just shows like there's a ton of runway in Tesla stock because of all these secular growth themes. And I know the timing of all of Elon's predictions or vision is always way off, but he kind of has a 100% success rate. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will happen. I have confidence in Elon. I just think the time frame is always really aggressive. But either way, market's a forward-looking mechanism needs to be factored into stock price today, and you're seeing it why it's up 180% in 7 months.
100%. Yeah, today's top stuff. Obviously, we talked about CPI this morning, so that will kind of really set the tone for the day for me. I think we have a 10-year note bid to cover later at 1 o'clock Eastern. But other than that, not too much going on the economic side of things. Pre-market earnings, we had VRA, Photonics, Rev Group reporting. And then after hours, we have Adobe, and then 17 Education and Tech as well. So got a few earnings still lingering around, but not too much going on. It's really just about CPI and the price action that comes from that today, which is still just ripping, by the way. If you look at these charts, it's just, wow, we are killing it. But we did just, ES just went and hit that high from yesterday. So I'm interested to see if we see any seller step in here. But you doing anything with CPI here, Shy?
No, I think I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a bad print to buck a trend. And now we're seeing like SPY's up 0.5%. You're seeing Q's up 0.8%. IWM is what's IWM at? Lagging a bit. So, that's interesting. IWM was up 1% 5 minutes ago. So that looks like it's fading a bit, and you're seeing Q's and SPY catch a bit. I'm wondering if we're going to see that rotation occur again, where like the smaller names are kind of not going to really catch a bid. It's going to be a large tech type of day, maybe. And again, like that follows a theme that we've been talking about, where a lot of investors don't really want to sell their large tech plays that they've been having all year due to cap gain reasons. That might change in a couple weeks. So like it's a trend setting type of period of the year. Whatever the trend's been all year, it's going to be continuing. And you're seeing that with large tech again this morning.
Yeah, 100%. What else we got for the morning? Ooh, the Nvidia bearish break confirmed. So yeah, this is I mean, obviously not looking too great if you're following this trendline channel. We are getting a little bit of a break to the downside out of it yesterday. So, Shy, I know you made a little move with your Nvidia yesterday. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I could talk about it. So, I will say I did sell my Nvidia shares yesterday. Again, this isn't because I am bearish on the company. It's not because I think
No,
that
you're making money.
no,
You're
it's not
growing,
bet against
yeah.
exactly. It's not bet against the company at all. It's truly like I still believe Nvidia will be the cornerstone of AI infrastructure going forward. Like Nvidia is AI. Their GPU leadership is literally like, you can't change. Like, you can't affect it. It's unchangeable. But I do think the market's appetite and myself is now less about the infrastructure phase of AI. It's all about the application layer. Like because the second stage of AI is going to be way more explosive, in my opinion, than its first stage, because applications or software, they don't have the capex requirements of all these AI related investments. It's a lot more, the onboarding is quicker, it's less cyclical, it's a lot more recurring. And because of that, if you have those software winners that are going to be the leading enterprise AI tech stack, it's not going to be like a one and done type of thing. It's going to be consistent. It's going to be repetitive, recurring, like I mentioned. So yesterday, I had one of my favorite stage 2 AI names, MongoDB, fade 17% on their earnings based on commentary of non-Alice business for Q4 is looking like it's lagging. and Atlas essentially is their like that's why I'm investing in MongoDB is their Atlas. So I could care less about their non-Atlas business. So if there's I think it was like a 25 to 30% fade after hours due to that one comment. I'm like, that's a buying opportunity in my opinion, because again, that move is based on something I could care less about the business. And I also think they're going through a transition right now from SMBs to like a large enterprise names, and that's going to affect their customer count going forward in the near term. So that the market didn't like that, and also there's just a lot of like short-lived wonkiness that occurred in that print that was a lot noisier. But what I got from that is consumption trend is strong, and the NoSQL their market share in the NoSQL environment is increasing, and I do think unstructured data is going to be a reality in the post AI world, and MongoDB is one of the few names that could capitalize off that. So I do think that was a buying opportunity, in my opinion. It is expensive right now, the valuation, but they have like the way they work. I won't get into too much, but like if applications start if AI is going to create all these applications going forward, because now I don't need teams of people to create these applications. I can create an application by myself using AI tools. So theoretically, applications should be blowing up in the next couple of years. That's MongoDB's bread and butter in their database is those applications. Combined with that unstructured data, like they're going to be a necessary component of the modern AI tech stack. And that's why I added yesterday. I think it's a short-lived heartburn that I'm going to capitalize on the long-term gain. And that's kind of where I like to use capital. I don't like, we went over this previously. Like I know like data proves that if you buy when stocks break their all-time highs, like it's going to be more positive than negative. For me, I like oversold natures of businesses that I think are very like their thesis has not changed, but if you see the price action in near term, it looks like it did. That's my buying opportunity.
100%. Yeah, AI still a lot of eyes on AI. That earnings was not too great with the price action move, but looking like it might be trying to peek its head back up this morning. It's really just trading inside yesterday's range, and yesterday was just a big volatility candle on the daily. So interesting here. I'm not seeing too much opportunity for myself, but obviously there's volatility, there's movement. I think shorter term trades here can definitely work, but obviously we talked about AI and investment side of things, and definitely not on my
Not a real
radar for that.
company.
No,
Not a real company.
but yeah, still some decent volatility there, so we're keeping eyes. Zoom is struggling at these local highs. To me, this is just it's still bullish structure. Everything looks good, but obviously you have that resistance headway above. So as long as you can keep making higher lows in that range, I think things are fine. But as soon as that structure that we've been holding kind of breaks and we start getting a market shift, I wouldn't be so bullish on Zoom.
Yeah, I
So
mean, Zoom's caught in that gray area of they're too big to get acquired because who wants to spend, I don't know what they're worth, like 15, 20 bill on Zoom product when their product is commoditized. Like it's a commodity. And they're only like I actually went through an investment case on Zoom last year because I was like, is there an opportunity here? Like if I had to put my corporate strategy hat on, like how would I change this business? Their only advantage is their uh, college presence. Like they have a huge presence on campuses nationwide. If they can leverage that towards partnerships in order to like any kind of company who wants to get into that kind of demo, they'll partner up with Zoom's ecosystem because they already have that presence. That might be an easy cash grab. But either way, like they haven't done that. It's too big to get acquired. They have no product that's going to be capitalized on AI. It's a commodity of business. Like it's a dead company in my opinion. And even though it's catching somewhat of a bid recently, it's just like I don't know. It's just why would you put your capital there when we have a revolutionary like tech era that we're in via AI, quantum computing, space. You want to invest in Zoom? You want to catch
yeah,
the
there's
falling
just
knife in
better
Zoom?
opportunity elsewhere. Yeah, at the end of the day, for sure. But of course, I mean, you keep it on your radar for those shorter term little intraday trades if there's volume. But even then, I mean, I feel like Zoom has not had it. So, um, yeah, definitely more opportunity elsewhere.
Hmm.
We got the market opening in about 5 minutes here. I am watching these moves. I mean, we have just been straight up since that CPI print. ES went back and SPY to Friday or yesterday's high, and we're just chilling there into the open. So I do anticipate if we pop back over these highs from yesterday and then get a move back below them, I do anticipate that we can potentially get a little bit of a sell-off from these highs. But I mean, this is pretty bullish looking, obviously, with the rip in price action. So if we just get through that high from yesterday and have momentum still, that would keep me hands off from any shorts. But I'm seeing a bit of opportunity if we can stay under these lows on NQ from yesterday, and then ES gives us a little bit of a divergence there. But yeah, we'll see what
I don't know.
happens into the open.
I'm looking at, I don't know, my eyes are going towards lagging names. So I'm being very snaily with my capital. Like I'm just like going to be very slow moving. I'm in no rush. I by far made my goals for this year. So I'm not going to risk any of it. But Uber is oversold in my opinion in the short term. Like I do fully agree with the potential disruption in their network in like 5+ years if Tesla really does conquer autonomy, which I think they will. But Uber's kind of like reacting like it's going to happen in next year or 2 years. They have like 22 like, millions and millions of rides every single month, maybe even every day. Like there's just so many rides. Tesla hasn't done one. Waymo does thousands. This disruption isn't going to affect any of their financials in the next year, 2 years. It's not. But the stock price is reacting like it's going to be near-term headwinds the next 6 to 12 months. It's not the case at all. So I do think this is one of those names where a narrative is creating a ton of FUD that's not going to be any kind of near-term headwind. And I'm looking for any kind of entry for this. It definitely looks broken on the daily and weekly chart. So I'm looking at the monthly if I see anything right now. And looking at the monthly, their 21 EMA looks like it's at $61. So I think maybe that's an interesting buying point. But also, like, if you look at the May dip, like the summer, like flooring on this name, like $63 to $64 has been a huge floor on this name. So like we're at that right now. So I'm like looking at a potentially not options, but commons. I have a 4% cash position, short term trade, like short term of maybe I just use that on Uber and have a stop loss at $61. That might be what I'm might be doing today in the market, but either way, I'm looking at like software's catching a bit. Snow's up 2% pre-market, MongoDB. We mentioned Tesla's past 410 now. MongoDB is one. I think it was way overblown yesterday, down 17%. I think software names struggled yesterday, so like that amplified MongoDB's sell-off. But we got some positive notes today on commentary of exactly what I just mentioned this morning, where long-term thesis is intact. They're going to be the next generation database company in the for AI. Things should be, if stage 2 of AI is going to start occurring, this name should be catching a major bid, especially with the consumption model. So not surprised to see them up 2%, but I want to see how they react towards that because 299 is a huge level for MongoDB, where that's not just their 21 EMA on the weekly chart. That's also their anchored average VWAP from their August 2024 bottom and breakouts. So that both of those metrics are kind of happening at around the 299 $300 level. So like I do think that $300 psych level is actually huge for MongoDB, not just because it's a round number 300, but because there's two different key technical levels now linking up towards that level. So if it can bounce and clear past 300, I think it might have a CrowdStrike type of gap fill where CrowdStrike dipped 10% after their earnings, but V-shaped recovery filled that gap because their commentary on the call was near-term headwinds on ARR, but really the long-term thesis was intact. That could be the same thing for MongoDB, where near-term headwinds, but long-term thesis is intact, and they're going to fill that gap. The market's going to open in a minute, so I'm watching. SPY's at the high of the day. That's nice to see.
Just peeking its head over yesterday's high. This is also December NFP low for ES and SPY there. So I'm watching closely, not taking any action yet, but I will be watching for
All right.
some opportunities. There's the bell. I gotta go ring that real stock market bell at the New York Stock Exchange one of these days. All right. Well, initially got a little bit of a move over yesterday's high on SPY, rejecting right back and down into this 5-minute range we were creating into the open there. So again, not taking any action yet on anything from me. But I'm interested to see if any sellers step in at these areas, or we are just gonna keep ripping it higher. But I'm ready for either way. Happy to play it either way. I do think still we have potential for a move. It's hard it's hard to see it now just because there's so much movement to the upside. But I would still love to see a move below yesterday's low and kind of be a fake out. But given the move we had this morning, and if this holds, might not see that at all today, right? Even with that, I'd be bullish, right? I'd be looking to buy that dip, but doesn't really look like it's happening today. Things are still holding strong, and I'm not gonna fight that strength. So
Yeah, I'm looking. Small caps are showing a ton of weakness right now. Not IWM. I'm saying like the speculative ones, like the nuclear names, space names, quantum computing names. So monitoring that. Palantir is having a strong fade from that pre-market gap. It was up 3%. Looks like it's about to go red now. So that's a big time Palantir bull, but like their intraday moves have not been good. It's looking very. This rally is exhausted in the near term. Um, it's not holding a lot of these gap ups, and they're getting really great like news flow as potential stock price catalysts that aren't really moving the stock anymore. So I think it's in that basing period, which is healthy. It needed to base. It just really does need to base. But it's one of those Q1 2025 like candidates of potential redness due to cap gains in 2024. Wow, IonQ is down 8% today. What is happening on? Oh, I know what happened. So one of their competitors just did a secondary offering, so I think that's potentially causing a lot of those crypto the quantum computing names to fade due to it's a capital intensive business model. So like that might honestly, as an IonQ shareholder, I want IonQ to do a secondary offering. Like take advantage of this like 500+% move they've had and just like raise the capital you need, even though you don't need it direly, like at least do it just to have enough of a cushion. So I'd be happy if they did a secondary. Tesla just caught a bid. Now it's approaching
oh,
that
do it,
410 level.
do it, baby girl. Come on.
Let's see.
What's the high again? 414.50. Get it. That's just going to be a magnet as of now. Even if we end up rejecting there, that level is just an absolute magnet here. And I definitely think it peeks its head over, even if we don't necessarily hold the move there. But looking great. Let's see if this continues.
Oof, Uber is just selling.
Yeah, not liking it. Oof. Uber. Yeah, I was looking at Uber for potential longs, I think last week, and just didn't really get the price action that I wanted. But we are still coming into a big spot. I mean, we have these February, March, April highs from 2021 here, Shy. So I'd be interested to see if we hold this area. It might still be a little choppy for a little while, but I think holding that area is a valid spot.
We're $2 away from the all-time high now for Tesla.
Oh, jeez.
Let's go. Oh, now it's fading a little, but still 3% move. I just don't understand how you. I know it's up 200% in 7 months, but like, I don't know who has the balls to short Tesla. First off, Bill Gates does obviously, and he got that completely wrong. He's down like $2 billion on his short on Tesla, but like, I don't know, like with all these catalysts aligning on Tesla's autonomy, like it's scary because the price, like we're seeing a lot of these robot videos as well. Like Optimus isn't even being factored into your stock price right now. This is purely the re-rating that's occurring from FSD and autonomy. Imagine if Tesla stock starts getting their Optimus value for that, and it's just like a whole. This could be $1,000 stock in the blink of an eye. Like it's crazy to think, but like it really could be, and it's one of those things where fundamentals probably prevent a lot of people from getting to this name when these kind of revolutionary companies, you can't allow something like that to prevent you from participating on what can be an explosive runway for the next decade. You saw with Palantir. You're seeing it with right now with Tesla. Like it's you have to pay up for quality, and when things are looking awful, when narrative falls price action, that's when you pounce. Like Palantir, you had years, like the last 2 years, to really add Tesla under $200. You just did, but nobody really believed in that AI and FSD vision until it's at $400. So that's why you gotta do the research, have the conviction, because that's where the alpha is made, and that's where you can find multi-baggers when the market is off sides on pricing a stock. Uh, yeah, market's not moving too much right now. MongoDB is past 300, so I'd love to see that.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm watching NQ. I would, if you're long, I would watch that. What is that high? 649. That's the next range high that I see. It's also coming close to that December NFP high, but we can very easily get through that. And if we get through that, that is just screaming bullish for today. Definitely would not want to be short if we're trading over December NFP highs on NQ, QQQ, SPY, all that. So, no real opportunity for any shorts, in my opinion. If you're in the audience thinking about it, I just don't see it yet. You might get an opportunity later, but as of now, it's just not smart to fade this strength quite yet until I get like some sort of actual trigger, which I don't yet. So obviously that can change pretty quickly, but right now, gotta let this rip, let this do its thing, just let price print, and I'm gonna stay hands off because I did catch a move in the pre-market as well, so I'm not like jumping too fast, putting the gas down to the metal, you know what I mean, like pedal to the metal. I'm not really doing that into this morning, even though it's like, oh, there's so much price action here, and there is, right? But tough to hop in that unless you were in it from the start, pretty much. You know, it's pretty much straight up with this volatility. So, got to be careful. Just wait for those opportunities, no matter if the market's ripping 150 points or not, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, and NQ took out those highs from yesterday as well. So, ES and NQ both doing that. Now, crude oil's been so quiet. Gosh.
Is
Also,
Palantir,
gold.
Geez, Palantir just sold off.
Uh-oh.
They're down 2% now.
Oh,
What is?
God.
See, it's exhaustion. It is.
Breaking yesterday's low. It's not
It's not
ideal for
good.
bulls. And yesterday we closed under the previous day low as well, and opened under the close of that previous day. Yeah, it's just not too great. It looks like, I mean, I don't think this is necessarily the top, but definitely a little bit of a short-term pullback. Gold's been super interesting too. I don't know if you've taken a look at gold at all. Shy, we finally broke out of that consolidation. We've been in a little bit to the upside, and it's actually doing decent. I haven't been convinced that it's a real move to the upside quite yet, but I keep my eyes. There's no trades there really. It's very quiet. Same with oil. It's very quiet in those areas.
I mean, I think BTGD, that ticker, that vehicle, I think that's a perfect example of like why you kind of want that exposure on,
Mm-hmm.
if you're calling BS on the government's initiative on actually being operationally efficient, like this is the vehicle to do so. And BTGD, again, like it's crypto and Bitcoin stacking up against each other. When Bitcoin is fading, gold was holding up that stock. So like, I think that's really interesting, like combo.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing right now, wow, Palantir is down 3% now. It's breaking
Yeah,
significant
Nvidia
levels.
continued selling this morning as well.
Snowflake red as well. So it's interesting. SPY and Qs are kind of
Apple's up.
up. Apple's up, of course.
Over yesterday's high. About to make a new high. I just made a new high day.
So they made an announcement today. They are collaborating with Broadcom to develop its first AI-focused server chips with their Broadcom's network technology. I think this is another reason on why I'm a little worried about Nvidia because you're seeing a lot of these big tech players create in-house solutions because Nvidia is charging a ransom for their GPUs and knowing that big tech has the cash luxury to create their own in-house products, like that's going to be an inevitability. Nobody knows when that's going to occur. That's why Nvidia gross margins are probably going to be above 70% for next 2 or 3 years at least. But either way, they don't just have competition with AMD; they have competition with big tech, and that's like a little dangerous when big tech's billions of dollars of investment is what causing this like gold rush towards Nvidia's GPUs, and you just don't know when that gold rush is going to take a pause due to these big tech companies having enough tools essentially in their tool shed to create their own products.
Hmm.
Let's see what else.
Yeah, not too much for me here quite yet. Let market do its thing. Obviously, if you're opening up any options contracts and you were long from the previous days, looking great here. I just don't have any opportunity to chase this move. I'm not gonna be doing that, but we're keeping our eyes out if anything triggers for me. But I'm not gonna be taking any action quite yet.
Yeah, it's a quiet day.
Love to see this price action though. I've missed that. It's funny. VIX is down more today, given the market going up, but with CPI, it's bringing some volume, so feels a little bit better than it's been.
No,
But
it's a day
again,
of
just
large tech.
yeah,
We called it out before. Like Amazon's up 2%. So you're seeing Tesla up 2%. Q's up 1%.
Google's on the
Let's
strength.
Yeah, let's see what the other names. Broadcom's up 4%. Google is continuing. Wow, is Google gonna hit their all-time high? They are.
They're getting close, huh?
Yeah, they're less than
We're-
2% away from all-time highs. Wow, I did not know Netflix is about to hit. They're pretty close to 1,000. They're at 930. Jeez, what a
Nice.
move this year on Netflix. But yeah, Google is just one of those. Again, I'm cautious. Again, their news on Willow, great academic win. Near-term monetization is so far away. It's almost like I don't know. It's not as bad as setting up a nuclear plant, which takes 5 or 6 years, but it's not anything that's going to happen next 2 years.
Yeah.
So if I don't, that's why I'm like, that's like they've gone up 10% off that Willow news already. Could there be a fade? Maybe, but also it was really undervalued before this Willow news. Like it was the cheapest Mag 7 name stock out there. So maybe that's why it's getting re-rated. Um, Oracle is continuing their sell-off from their earnings. They're at 175 now. A very big level for them is the 21 EMA, which has been a bounce spot for them all year, and that's at 170. So that could be where it finds a near-term bottom.
Reminder: we do have a 10-year note high yield coming out at 10 o'clock Eastern, or no, that's 1 o'clock Eastern, 10:30 Eastern. We have crude oil inventories as well today. Not huge data, but just going along with the CPI. And then the PPI tomorrow, initial jobless claims. Should have another decent morning of volatility. Well, maybe volume. I don't know how volatile the candlesticks will be, but we should get some movement. So, God, it's a beautiful CPI print, though. It just brought amazing price action. Hit all my targets that I wanted, but I'm definitely wishing I held on to some more.
Yes, not much. I'm starting to think now Tesla might not hit that all-time high
Where's
today.
she at?
It's just fading. It's at 407. That 410 level looks like it's a somewhat of a resistance.
You need to see yesterday's high get reclaimed before we lose Monday's high. If we lose Monday's high, we're probably not going to see those all-time highs today, and we'll end up closing below that high from yesterday. But If we can hold that high from Monday and reclaim yesterday's high, Tuesday's high, I think it has a chance to go back. So whichever happens first, right? For me, if we knock under Monday's high, I'm gonna start to think, okay, they're probably not gonna do that today. We'll keep it maybe a little downside to sideways price action. And on the flip side, if we can hold and then not only hold but also reclaim that high from yesterday, I think we have a good chance of trying it again, maybe into the end of the day. But we'll see. Kind of just stuck in between these daily levels, this pocket I have on Tesla right now. So not too much there. Apple just continuing to rip and piss Shy off. I love to see it. Oh my gosh, this is
I'll be
actually
s-
crazy. Look at this
I'll be
weekly, man. The weekly channel consolidation into that breakout, which we talked about multiple times on the show as well. I mean, I was just kind of waiting to see that break out if it wanted to, right? We kept making higher lows. Everything was holding. The whole bullish structure was there. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen, right? And finally got it going. And Apple is not giving it up quite yet. And we're just forming some big gaps on the daily, or on the weekly, so something to watch out for. But
I,
I agree with your thoughts as well, Shai. It's like, a pullback in the near term, I think, is very much needed, especially coming into this new year. But well, we're gonna fuck around and find out, I guess. I know Evan just wants that thing to keep shooting straight up, but I don't know.
that's the thing. I also
We
don't
need
think
more innovation.
I don't think Apple, the way they're structured, the amount of cash they have, I don't think they're capable of us having a 20% correction. Like I just think it's just I don't know, it's just one of those vehicles that it's if the market's flowing, it's gonna flow with the market. Like
Hmm.
it's not gonna be. I don't know. It's weird. I know the Apple Intelligence news just dropped yesterday, where it's finally going to be implemented into like Siri. Now I think that we're starting to see signs of like their monetization on Apple Intelligence is starting to occur. So maybe it's catching a bit, but I still think the move we've seen the past month alone being up 11%. Apple up 11% in a month. That's being priced in. Any Apple Intelligence monetization is being priced into the stock. So like I don't really know what could be the next driver. This iPhone cycle is not a super cycle. It is not. It is an absolute dud. So like I again, this all year it's been the narrative like they're gonna experience a super cycle, super cycle. It didn't happen, but stock prices still continue going up. It's like the weirdest thing ever. I don't really know.
This
Maybe.
move right now is wild on NQ. I talked about it on QQQ Spy on the show yesterday. I mean, these NFP levels, guys. I think let me read the ones out on QQQ. Come on, show up. There it is. December NFP low 521.33 was the spot. You can see we made a nice move off of that this morning. And right where are we going? Right to that next December NFP level, the December NFP high, which is 526.71. We just peeked our head over that. These NFP levels are just it's over and over, man. This system is just ridiculous. So now for me, seeing this move, I'm thinking, all right, well we did this trade that we wanted. We got the move here. Do we want to go higher and push above this NFP high and continue price action strong like this, or are we maybe going to try and slow down here and trade within this December NFP range, right? So for me, if we want to trade back into the range, I want to see everything slow down here. You've seen, I mean, everything has just been continuously ripping, ripping, ripping. Nothing about this slowing down. So right here into this NFP high, this is where you'd want to see some just price action kind of halt for a second and hang out at this area and just rest for a second. So that's what I'm looking to see. If not, we're gonna just continue over NFP highs and continue this bullish price action to the upside and ride the trend. But I would like to see a retracement back in personally. It would give me more opportunity for trading intraday. Um, but
Oh,
VIX still coming in a little bit, holding at least above 1350. But yeah, so you can see price action right now kind of slowing down at that NFP high. Obviously we want to see that continue here in the next few candlesticks. Since all these candlesticks have just been continuously closing new highs, we should see a little bit of slowdown here at this price if sellers are going to step in and just stop making continuous highs. That's what we should see here. Hopefully, in the next 5 minute candle is maybe make one more high on this one, or just or if it doesn't, just kind of hang out right here sideways. If not, we just continuously make these highs with momentum. It's looking like the bulls are just gonna stay in control for me.
So Jordan, let me pick your brain about something.
Yeah, what's up?
You This is one thing that you and I disagree on potentially. So RSI, I
Mm-hmm.
think I use RSI a lot at
Yeah.
on my monthly charts to see like how overextended things are. There's two camps. One, high RSI means strength, relative strength, like keep riding that wave. Like there's a reason it's up, like it's deserving. It has a premium, and the market's okay with that. My part two camp is like, oof, overextended.
Yeah.
SPY on the monthly chart, there are anything above a score of 70 is overbought.
Mm-hmm.
Anything below 30 is oversold. Typically, when it hits above 70, overbought is like, oof, like how much juice can be squeezed, especially on the monthly chart. Like daily, I completely agree with Camp A. Like, keep riding that wave. There's a reason. It's a catalyst, PEG, whatever it might be, riding. But monthly, I'm like, oof, that could be a toppy.
Mm-hmm.
SPY RSI just hit a 75 on the monthly. The
Wow.
last three times it's hit this level, I just looked through the chart right now. June 2027, I don't think this is going to occur. It went down 54%
Oh,
in
jeez.
'07.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
know. Again, him and I were too young to
Yeah.
participate in the market. I don't know what occurred in '07, summer of '07, but oof.
Yeah.
The last time was, I mean, the one after that was January 2018, 18% in the next 11 months. It went down. The time after that was December 2021. We all know what happened. Bubble bursted and went down 27% in 10 months. So just using the last three metrics, every time the spies hit this level of RSI, it's gone like 54% across 2 years and went down 17% across 12 months and another 27% across 10 months. We're at that level right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm very cautious. We're
That makes sense.
like,
No, it makes total sense, and I feel like for someone when I was using RSI especially, I mean, let's be real. I was using RSI for like day trading in the beginning of like my whole trading days, right? So when I look back on RSI, I just think about, okay, for one, I was using it maybe, but I didn't know what I was doing with when using it, right? I may have thought I knew what I was doing, but I was probably not using it properly, not using it on high time frames, right? Trying to use it on a super low time frame, it's just not high probable, right? So I think there's a part of me that obviously like RSI is just an extra piece of confluence. I don't think any entries should be taken off of it ever, right? Just
mhm,
because SPY did that, like it's your statistics are great for sure, and I totally get what you're saying, but like price action will tell me that, right? Price
totally.
action will tell me when to get in. So just having that as an extra piece of confluence, I think is huge, and you can do that, and that's what I should have been doing, right? And if I had used it like that, I might have a little more like positive outlook on RSI, right? I think the fact that I screwed up with it in the beginning is wasn't good for me. But at the end of the day, I think it's fine as long as you're just using it as another point of confluence that helps give you more confidence versus then like, okay, I'm entering off this because RSI is here, right? It's like, okay, well what other systems do you have in place? What other points of confluence do you
Mhm.
have?
No, 100% agree. And like the way I would use it is, let's just say I'm up 200K this year. Hedging is really freaking cheap right now. The VIX at 13 handle. I might just use 10% of that profit and buy 1 year expirations, like 1 year puts on SPY, just to take advantage of the IV being very low on those contracts. And I just want to protect my portfolio. Again, I'm okay losing 20K. I know 20K is a big number, but it's only 20 of the 200K of profit. You have to think of that way of like, of course, like everyone has insurance. Everyone buys insurance all the time to prevent themselves from just getting busted up on when you really need it. This is that time, in my opinion. Like I know it's so against investing, like against my investing bones to try to call a top in the market. It's you don't do that. You will get busted. But on a 1 year out strike, I'm like, that's why I'm like where my head's thinking right now. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but I'm also going to be freaking pissed if some reason in April we're going to have a 10% correction. I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was just so obvious. I saw that sign, the data front, like options are so cheap. I should capitalize on it. Like, I think that's where I'm balancing it out. So I don't know. I'm just want to caution. Like, I don't know if I'm going to participate in it. I'm not advising. It's not financial advice. Don't buy puts. Don't call it top of the market. But that's an interesting data point that I just found out when I just
Yeah.
did it right now. And
Definitely. I
again,
think it's something worth noting, right? And keep an eye on it. And obviously, like, you can always take, like, maybe a small speculative play, thinking, with your thesis there. And then if you actually see it start to play out, that's when you can maybe add that real size on there. You know what I mean? And have a little more conviction with it once you get confirmation of what you think is going down there. But yeah, no, I think well, you said the statistics. I mean, pretty much every time SPY gets to that level, and again, you're using it's not like RSI on a 15-minute, like you're using it on a monthly chart, which is again, it's just gonna hold more weight, right? So I do think it's definitely more important on that level, and something to keep an eye on, right? And not only that, just at the same time, keep an eye on the price action from these levels, right? Do we see a shift in this market structure? Do we see a shift in momentum? Some sort of break of this bullish structure, or are we just continuously ripping every dip gets bought today? So I'm just keeping my eyes on that. I know we're coming into the top of the hour. I'm gonna be wrapping up, but it's been a beautiful morning. I appreciate the whole crew tuning in with us as always. Shy, do you have any last words for the crew for the trading day?
rest up because I think it's gonna be a volatile Q1. So enjoy this quiet time. Enjoy the, I won't say easy money, but it's not. There's no heartburn right now
Well,
in the
if you think
market.
this is a hard market, I got news for you. The hard market to day trade is coming because this has been the easy market. So, um, I actually can't wait for those times again. Like I said on the show the other day, it's like it really shows who can really trade the market, right? It's everybody can make money when it's a bull market straight up, but can you make money when things are sideways and to the downside and market structure is shifting back and forth, right? That's when I like to see that good traders really emerge, especially on social media. It's really cool to see. There's a lot of great people out there. So shout out to the crew. I appreciate everybody. We're gonna wrap things up for the day, but everybody trade safe and have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys bright and early in the morning.